welcome back to another knife review. This is one of my all-time favorite knives, and this is actually one of the absolute originals. I think I got it, about maybe 6 months after they were first released. This is a Spyderco Manix 2XL. It's got a pretty hefty blade on it. You can see this guy is actually scraped on some things. Okay. But yeah, he's got basically a 3.5 inch blade, or 4 inches overall. Well, 3.5 inches of cutting length. And if you count this choil, you got exactly 4 inches there. These guys have G10 handles that have Spyderco's peel ply on them. This isn't a good example because I've worn this guy for close to 10 or close to 8 years in my pocket. I think that was right around when they came out, around 8 years ago. The other side is a little bit more grippy still, but that's fine. You can see that I have basically tried to polish the black off of what this originally was, if I remember right. Nope, it's just scratched up. That must have been my Benchmade. Alrighty. This is kind of a newer variant. This is the one that Blade HQ released a little while ago in CPM M4. There we go. Which is another fantastic steel, but it is very much not stainless. I live in Colorado where it's stupid dry all the time, so I don't really have that much fear of those. But if I was living on the West Coast, on the East Coast, stuff like that, yeah, I'd be much more concerned over something like that. In which case, you probably want to go with the standard version that comes in S30V, or any of the many different variants I'm sure they've probably made over the years. Not quite as many as the Manix 2, but at least we got a little bit of love. So, first thing I can say about this guy is it is very comfortable for me with larger hands. I basically have a 9-inch radius around, so that makes me right on the cusp between large and extra large glove size. And this guy fits absolutely fantastic in the standard position, as you can see here. I got all my fingers nice and gripped up there. You can choke up, like I've said in previous reviews. I honestly don't use that position. I'll use a pinch grip if I'm going to do something with a lot more control. And this seems like you'd want a lot of control while you're putting a lot of force on it, which doesn't really work with my preferences, so I just don't. But at least it's got a little nub in here that makes it a lot easier than some other knives that just have a finger choil that ends up right with a blade, because I can actually pierce into something and then get that caught on a place without blade and trying to get the knife back out. It's just a little irritating. So there's that. This guy has jimping basically almost everywhere. You can see part of the blade there, as well as this guy right here is with the liners. So you got also that on the other side here for the whole finger choil, the half on the blade and the half on the liners, as well as over here right behind there, and a whole bunch right back here. And that helps if you're holding it this way, or perhaps you're holding it in reverse grip, you still have a lot of grip going on there. These ball bearing locks are pretty convenient to use. The springs in them are actually a bit more difficult to use than something like the Benchmade. There's a little bit more tension there, so you do have to kind of get used to using a finger on both sides rather than just trying to pull back on one. You can, but this titanium ball cage actually helps get a little bit more grip than these plastic ones do. Yeah, let me refer to my notes here. Okay. So the other thing that I've noticed is this is an original one, and I can open this guy up and probably won't be able to see a whole lot, but if we take a look in here, you can see there is absolutely no skeletonization or milling out of the inside liners there. Whereas these guys, they've had some CQI, and you can see definitely that they have a lot of milling that's gone on there. What that does is reduce the weight by 1/2 ounce. Yeah, it's still not a whole lot, given the fact that the original guy right here comes in just shy of 6 ounces at 165 grams. Whereas this guy's around 5.2, maybe 5.3, right around there, ounces, or 148 grams. So it takes a little weight off, but this is not a knife that you're going to wear if you're wearing basketball or gym shorts or whatever. I generally wear some fairly decently heavy-duty work pants from like Carhartt or other guys like that. And I always wear a belt because I worry about my ass crack hanging out. So, if I'm wearing pants with a belt, I really don't care if this thing weighs 2 pounds because it's being held up by the belt rather than, by my physical waist doing all sorts of stuff for that. So, I really love these guys. I actually do like the weight overall. This is basically my most favorite Spyderco knife, and I've had quite a few of them. I've, sitting here, I have an Endura and a paramilitary 2, but I also have quite a few others. Again, a bug, a honeybee, a grasshopper, a harpy. I have a matriarch 2. I have a captain, which is a really weird one I'll get to eventually, but mine's highly modified, so it's certainly nowhere near original. And I'm probably missing a couple, but yeah, I absolutely love Spyderco as a brand. I wish that their dealer exclusives were a little bit easier to get a hold of. Between this one, which actually wasn't all that bad, I forgot about it and went to look for it later on in the day, and this version still was there. The one with the black blade that I didn't want sold out first, and I don't blame people for that because this is very corrosion prone. But something like this guy that I got from DLT Trading, their website was really not well suited to it, and I basically spent around 15 minutes refreshing a page, attempting to put it in the cart, getting a failure message, refreshing the page, putting it in the cart, then trying to check out and getting an error message, and just doing the whole thing over and over and over. And I probably got one of the very last ones available. And unfortunately, most of them do these as one-offs. I'm not a super huge fan of that because sometimes when you have a very good combination of stuff, like if you have this guy in M4, or say later on they'll do something with Maximate or crew wear or something like that, that's probably a little bit more desirable. And honestly, if you get them at the price that they sell them for, not a whole lot more expensive than the originals, you really want that to be available because it's just a better knife and a better deal. But unfortunately, almost all the time, these dealer exclusives are a one and done with Spyderco. And that makes, the aftermarket price for them soar. Like, this is basically the first Spyderco, this PM2 and the crew wear and the purple handles, where I'm actually kind of afraid to use it or even put my own edge on it or anything, because these exclusive versions end up skyrocketing in the value that they get on the secondary market. I'm not super a huge fan of that because sometimes I just want something because I want something. I wanted this. I mean, crew wears a neat steel and everything, but it was the purple handle scales that, you can. I do enjoy myself some purple, and you can see why I purchased it. Whereas I'd been thinking about PM2s mostly for comparison sakes, but hadn't pulled my trigger on any of them for many years, and I have now. So, so there's that. Alrighty, I can do a couple of little comparison here with my other guys. So that's the PM2, and this is the equivalent of the Rat Model 1. This is the SE Avispa, as you're probably familiar with. There is the Spyderco Endura, which you can see is basically the same blade length. And this guy doesn't have the choil, but they might in the future, because I've seen, this is an Endura 4. This has the lynch clip on there because I broke the original one, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to physically call up Spyderco on the phone and place a credit card order over the phone because they don't have any other way of doing that. So that's why I got that there. And Benchmade 940, which is, slim little dude, much shorter blade. And this guy's got an incredible amount of recurve. Should probably try and regrind this at some point. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I don't carry it all that much anymore, but I have had it for a good 10 years. So yeah, I can get off my soapbox about sprint runs and dealer exclusives and everything, and just say I absolutely love this knife. If you got some bigger hands, I wouldn't go with you got the crazy footballer hands, because it does have a hook on the back end. And if your hands are a little bit wider, it might be a little bit more uncomfortable because your pinky's going to ride up on there. But for your standard large hands, this thing is magnificent. The ergonomics on it are fantastic, and basically any way that you want to hold it, you can hold it that way. I generally don't like the Gorilla Grip myself either, but a lot of people use it. All right, and if you had any weird lingering questions about why my fingers are all sorts of weird colors and everything, it's something I've been doing for probably about almost 20 years now. These are the two colors that I've used. This is the ILNP, it's Hi-Fi color, which is a really vibrant purple glitter kind of thing. Much more vibrant than I think I would normally want to wear on all of them, but for an accent now, works out all right. And this is a color club, kind of bronzy-ish, coppery-ish kind of mix. I don't remember the name of the color because it has fallen off there, but, they're easy enough to find. So, all right. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if that's kind of the thing that you're into. And have yourself just a wonderful rest of your day, yo.